Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, please do so, along with the thumbs ups, and drop your comments. But I want to thank everybody for supporting this channel. We actually have surpassed 4,000 subscribers. Just this morning, we did it. So, awesome. I'm so happy. I launched this channel about a year ago with the express interest to help be a part of the conversation, to help steer the conversation, to find out what will make the Knicks a championship team. I want to bring a championship to New York, to my Knicks that I've been rooting for my entire life. And it's been a lot of losing for us. And I just thought, you know what? This is the time. This is the time to do this. YouTube is a wonderful forum, and the chat and the comments that you guys have been sharing with me, with us, Keese and Foxy and everybody on this channel. It's just been wonderful. It's been a great discussion. And today we got some really good news. Yes, it doesn't mean something's actually going to happen, but we got some good news. Brian Windhorst went on NBA Today and he reported that the Knicks, that there could be a shakeup of the roster before the trade deadline of our Knicks. And that's good news. He actually said, quote, "In conversations this week with teams, the Knicks have expressed a willingness to trade some of their veteran players. That includes Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, Alec, Burks, guys like this," Windhorst said, "and there's a reason for it." All right. Well, this is big news. We finally have some kind of an indication. Now, it's not totally confirmed, but I'm going to choose to believe this because it makes sense. Because they made that trade for Cam Reddish, and the fact that Cam is struggling to get any minutes on this roster, you don't make a trade like the Knicks made and let him sit on the bench. No. In fact, he played 10 minutes the other night because of garbage time. Before that, he only played 5 minutes in his debut and then had a DNP. So it's just too crowded. The Knicks are too crowded right now, and they're losing. And it makes sense to do this move right now, and I'll explain why. Here it is. Even though in the offseason, and I was a fan of this of these two guys joining the team. I'm a huge fan of Kemba Walker, have been for a very long time, and Fournier, that guy's just been a sniper. He can shoot. The guy's he's hurt the Knicks in the past. Of course, he does have a tendency to disappear, and his defense is lacking. But I thought that with Randle and RJ and Mitch, that somehow that unit could really gel and overcome the offensive inadequacies that this team had last season. Remember, this team, the reason that this team became a fourth seed is, yes, they played excellent defense, top 3 in the NBA. However, they had an all-NBA, a guy, Julius Randle, playing like an all-NBA player. So they rode him offensively. But Bullock wasn't, he wasn't a really impactful offensive player, though he could hit the three, consistently, and he did that well, and he played great defense. But, he was limited. He was very limited. And then the point guard last season, who I won't even name, was incredibly limited. So this seemed on paper like a good idea. Hey, it didn't work out, so why continue trying to force this issue? It's over. It's done with. I would say mostly Kemba is the one who doesn't gel as much with Randle and RJ. Fournier, I have actually seen him perform well with those two other guys. But the thing is, having them all together really doesn't mix. In fact, when Evan and Kemba on the floor together, all possessions, they were a minus 6.6 differential in points per 100 possessions allowed. Offensively, just so you know, a minus 6.6, according to Cleaning the Glass, is good enough for a 20 percentile ranking. 0 is terrible. 100 is the best. So 20, they're in the 20th percentile when they're on the floor. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't have a starting unit like that and expect to win. Now, offensively, they only account for 107.9 points per 100 possessions, which is a 28th percentile ranking. So it's a little better, but defensively, they allow 114.5 points per 100 possessions, which is a 20 percentile ranking. So you can just see they just don't mix. But Evan Fournier alone when you remove Kemba from the picture, and ironically, Nerlens Noel. For some reason, Nerlens creates a lot of noise in the data, and he didn't really play that much with Nerlens. So when Evan's on the floor, in general, without Kemba or Nerlens, he's a plus 2.5 differential. Offensively, 115.3, which is good enough for an 85 percentile ranking. 85 best. Now, defense is still lagging, 112.8, which is a 31 percentile ranking. But with the differential, because of the points they score, the offense that he provides, the injection of offense that he provides. This guy's had a 40-plus game this season. He went off. He's had several games where he's gone off and actually probably contributed to winning several games for the Knicks. So the plus 2.5 is good enough for a 64 percentile ranking. So I wouldn't give away Evan Fournier. I would try to find a good partner for him, get some decent value for him. His contract is a little bit high perhaps, but not really for the skill that he has. Before the last two games, he was actually the number one three-point shooting NBA player in the NBA since January 1st. I kind of said that backwards, but basically, he was leading the league in three-point shooting percentage before the past two games from the beginning of this 2022 year. So, and for the season, he's shooting pretty decently. Now, however, Kemba on the court, playing with anybody on the Knicks, is a minus 10.7 differential. That is a 10 percentile ranking. He's in a bottom 10 anytime he's on the court with any Knick. Offensively, 104.6, which is a 14 percentile ranking. Defensively, 115.3, which is a 16 percentile ranking. He's just hurting us in the defensive end and hurting us offensively. He doesn't seem to mix well with the other players on this roster. They have to find a home for Kemba. I hope they can. I really do. I hope there's some team that could really use him, because we saw that he's offensively, he has moments where he's just outstanding. He can still shoot that three-pointer, though he's been a little inconsistent. He's a little inconsistent of late. But he had that certain surge when he came back after being DNP'd for 9 games straight, and he ended up winning Player of the Week. So he has something still to contribute offensively. Maybe the Knicks can find a home for him. However, Alec Burks, I will be sad to see him go. The Swiss Army knife, the fourth quarter assassin. He's won us games in the past 2 years. There's no doubt about that. His versatility is outstanding. However, the pace just is too slow with him on the court. And also, he actually has a lot of value for other teams, especially contending teams right now. If they need somebody with his versatility and defensively, he's an excellent defensive player, excellent wing. He's been cast in the role of a point guard right now, and it's just not his natural position. He's 30 years old. He has a 3-year contract left. He's making $9.5 million this year. Next year he'll make $10 million, which is pretty nice. And the third year, the 10.5 is a team option. So he's a very, very exciting, interesting trade asset for a team to acquire and for us to get some decent value back in return. From the three-point line, he's averaging 39.5%, which is a 76 percentile ranking. His field goal percentage, though, is pretty low right now. It's 48.3%, which is in the 20 percentile ranking. He's just not finishing at the rim at the level that he needs to be, but the three-point shot is there. So the three-point shot is there. Defensively, he's outstanding. So this guy, I'll be sad to see him go, but he has to go because we have guys, the young guys on this team, like Cam, like Grimes, and Obi, who need to get more burn on this team for the New York Knicks to reach the goal of one day winning a chip. We need to find out what our youth can do. If they can develop, we need to move to a development strategy while still trying to make a playoff push. So I embrace this news report wholeheartedly. I hope you do too. Now, there was one other report that came out that involves Julius Randle, our All-NBAer, and the report came from Ian Begley of SNY. And he basically, here's what happened. Here's what he heard. One team in touch with a member of the Knicks organization recently is under the impression that Julius Randle would be available for the right return. Wow. Okay. Now this is a biggie. So the right return, what's it going to be? De'Aaron Fox, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's the kind of return I'm thinking about. Let's hope that is the kind of trade that they're looking at. If not, perhaps, moving on from Fournier and Kemba and Burks and opening up the situation where there's more of a mix between vets and youth in each rotation. And we don't have to look at things as like hockey units, hockey lineups where it's like the first lineup and the second lineup comes and they switch like that. No, let's have much more creativity with the rotation. Try to be more situational in how we approach each game and get more time with Obi and Randle on the floor if Randle stays beyond the trade deadline right now. This whole thing where that Obi and Randle can't play together has to leave our Knicks-Verse. It can happen. It can totally happen. The upside that you get offensively, the spark, the jolt of youth, and the you speed up the pace, especially if you have Emmanuel Quickley, who will now move into the starting lineup if they remove Kemba. And then remember, Derrick Rose is still waiting in the wings, mending. So maybe Rose becomes the starter, and Quickley still is the lead point guard of the second year. However it ends up shaking up, it's still good because it's removed certain roadblocks for the youth movement to continue. I love it. I'm a big fan of this situation. Let's hope that there is truth to this report. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this, and thank you to the subscribers. The thumbs ups, please. And please drop your comments. I want to hear what you guys think about all of this. And I'll be dropping anytime something breaks, I'll drop a report. And tomorrow we have the pregame show. And hopefully the Knicks can steal that win against the Milwaukee Bucks. It would be sweet. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I will see you guys around the Knicks-Verse.